What's going on, fellow Vikings? I mean, beer lovers. Today is a very different episode than what we usually do. As you can see, we are outside in Mother Nature. We are embracing our inner Vikings today because we are about to review the Viking Brew Vessel. That's right, guys. Drinking horns just like a Viking. So if you're interested, stay tuned. What's going on, beer lovers, and welcome to another episode. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jacob.
And we actually had a company reach out to us on Instagram. They go by the name Viking Brew Vessel. Trust me, I'll be putting all their information in the description down below. But they make these custom, beautiful drinking horns. And these drinking horns are a reflection of Viking culture. We don't really have Vikings around anymore in the modern era. However, if you talk to the men and women of Norway, they might beg to differ. My good friend Espen Westham, he lives in Norway. He's a fellow home brewer and beer lover. He actually created Draugar. This is a double hazy IPA, 8.4%. It's brewed with Mosaic and Galaxy, I believe, and it was brewed in collaboration with Beer Zombies. We actually did a review of this beer about a year and a half ago. So if you want to check that out, I'll definitely put it at the end of the video. But the main thing we're here to do is really test this out as a product. It's not every day you see someone walking around town with a Viking drinking horn.
No, not usually.
But you know what? If you were around 2,500 years ago, it was a very common thing. Vikings, as well as many other cultures, used drinking horns as a celebratory vessel. A lot of times when battles were won, special ceremonies like a wedding or a birth, this is what they used back then. So it's really a symbol of that Viking culture. I did ask Espen, if Vikings were around today, what would they be like? And some of the responses I got were funny and also unique. They would be into heavy metal music. They would be socialist. Also, they would drink a ton of beer. And what was the other one?
Travel.
Oh yeah, travel.
Yeah.
Duh. Just like Vikings back then, they also still love to travel, which is one of the reasons why I was actually fortunate enough to meet the guy in person. Okay, so on to the product.
Yeah, so quick background about the company. They actually do get their horns ethically sourced, so they're not like going out in nature and just hacking off horns. They're also handcrafted, handmade, custom, like we said. And so we've had them for, I don't know, a couple weeks now just to kind of see how they look, as decoration. How do they look as actual drinking vessels? And we wanted to review these earlier, but it just felt right to do, a beer that had something to do with Vikings. So That's kind of why this really worked out for us to do Draugar with these guys. So let's get into that beer and really see how they are drinking out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's crack them open.
Woo.
Woohoo! So I'll be honest with you guys, I've never drank out of a horn before, but this is kind of cool. Oh shit, it filled up a lot faster than I thought. So one thing is I was looking at my horn earlier in comparison to Jacob's, and it is significantly larger. I was thinking, how much could this hold? Could you take it to a brewery and ask them to fill this instead of a pint glass? And I was thinking, this has got to be probably 20 ounces.
No.
But sure enough, it's slender enough. I can't even fill. Oh my God, this beer, guys.
Well, you're also like hard pouring it into a weirdly shaped object,
that's
so
true. That's true. Probably half of this is head, I'm guessing. Before we get into the horns more, though, this beer smells majestic.
Oh yeah. I was actually wondering, because this is such a weird shaped drinking vessel, how that would affect the aroma. Well, at least for this beer, it's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to really negatively affect it at all.
No.
It smells like apricots, peaches, oranges, and pineapple, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm so excited. I want to pour more.
Oh, you have more room. I'm pretty much at my
max
spot,
capacity.
So I'm ready to drink.
So I'm gonna go ahead and guess that mine's probably where the beer's at on top. I'm gonna say mine's probably about 12 ounces of space inside. His is probably closer to 8, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say something like that. So honestly, we probably could have put a barley wine in this and it been appropriately sized, yeah.
All right, well, I'm ready to dig in.
All right.
Prost. Skål. Sorry, let's try it again.
Wrong culture.
I'm ready to dig in. Skål.
All right. Okay. Problem with this, I want to chug whatever liquid is in here. And I think it's solely because it's a drinking horn.
Yeah, there's something about drinking out of a horn that just makes you feel 10 times cooler. I'm not gonna lie. And I will say, flavor-wise, the horn doesn't impede on the flavor at all. This tastes like I'm drinking a beer out of any vessel, really. I will say that it's not, as cold as like fresh cold glasses that you get at breweries and stuff.
No, but I also, I don't think my hand is gonna warm up the beer inside, so it's probably really good for something you want a little bit colder. So going back to my barley wine comment, maybe not the best for barley wine, depending on what kind it is, because I do like those a little bit warmer. So you might want to take out the bottle of the fridge, a little bit sooner before you pour it into your horns. That way it's at like that perfect temp and it kind of stays there.
Now, one thing I want to bring up, and I don't know if you're getting this at all, but this is a larger vessel, and the way that I'm drinking out of this right now, having the horn go off to the side, the beer does kind of like slosh around in there as I'm drinking it. It kind of reminds me of drinking out of a Das Boot, where you got to kind of be a little strategic. But honestly, this isn't something that I would chug out of. Like,
I think mine
I want to,
because mine's a little bit smaller and it's a little bit more of like a
aerodynamic.
I was gonna say like banana shape, but yeah, well, it's aerodynamic. It's not. Mine doesn't do like a weird long curls the way yours does, so I don't get weird splashes. This is just kind of normal for me.
Horn down, guys. Horn down kind of solved my problem. It's definitely the way to go. All right, so now that we're enjoying this incredible beer, which again, if you guys want to see our full review of this, definitely stay for the end of the episode. I'll post a link. I want to get back to these horns. So the first thing I want to point out is appearance. How would I rate this appearance? If I'm being totally honest with you guys, when I opened the packaging and pulled this horn out and saw the beautiful detail around the tip, I was like, holy shit, they sent me a unicorn horn. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. The leather work is really good. I mean, there's nothing crazy complicated about it, but the strap attached, we hiked up to this hill and I had this strapped to my back and had zero problems. It was incredibly comfortable. So it is practical as well, which I like. This is something that maybe I would want to take to a beer festival instead of using the little tiny pours. Even if they still only give me a little bit, I'd look pretty badass walking around drinking out of a horn. What about you? What do you have to say about yours?
So this one does come with a stand. So those of you who are wondering, like, all right, when are you gonna put it down? You can do that with these ones and some other ones. I really dig the black colored horn. It's a little bit smaller. I personally would go for the smaller one too, just because, especially something like this, you're gonna want to display it. There's no way you're gonna buy this and then just put it in your cupboard. You're gonna leave it out and have it displayed. So I kind of like ones that came with a stand, a little bit smaller, just because it's easier for me to move around if I want to move it in different spots. I don't like it the first place. It's just more practical for me personally. And
I also like that this one's got a little attachment where you can hook it on your belt.
You can just kind of...
So it's just right there, which is typically how Vikings would wear their horns. It would be strapped around some kind of satchel or belt of some sort. So I really dig that aspect.
Yeah.
Overall, so the real question is why would we review this on the channel? Why does it matter to you guys? And really what it is when you love all things beer, you kind of want to find all the fun stuff to drink beer out of and drink beer with and do all that kind of stuff.
One other thing we've definitely mentioned on the channel before, between the two of us, we buy way too much glassware. Technically, this is still kind of glassware.
Yeah.
But maybe for those of you who are also otherwise partnered up, they might see this as more of a display piece.
Sounds like a really bad excuse to buy more glassware.
Hey,
but...
you know what? I feel you, and when you drop this on the floor, it's a little bit more durable than glass, at least. I haven't tested it. I haven't whacked somebody on the head with this, but I know I've definitely broken some glass just cleaning them.
Yeah.
And it's always been glasses that I really like. Inevitably, it'll happen. This is more durable than those. Still definitely be careful with them. They are, real actual horns, handcrafted, so don't, throw them in your dishwasher.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm expecting this to last longer than maybe some of my more delicate glassware. And I think more guests that are not into beer will appreciate this kind of art on my shelf versus if I put my new brewery Teku or tulip glass, they might even just walk straight past it and not even think about it. This is certainly a little bit more of a conversation piece, and I don't know, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's really cool, and like you said, I mean, this is a lot more impressive than some monkish glassware. It just
as much as we love that.
Yeah, as much as we love that, and I know some of you guys will hate us for that comment, but whatever.
I don't know. I mean, it's a horn.
Yeah, it's a drinking horn, man. And so that is the real question: is this a practical buy? Is this something worth buying? This is not a very straightforward product where it's like a definite yes, definite no. You have to be willing to look at this from a full view, because are you going to take this to a sporting event? No. Are you going to take this on a hike? Well, unless you're recording this episode, more than likely not. Are you going to take this to the brewery? I would probably say that some of you guys are weird enough to stroll into a brewery and think that it's really cool that you're asking them to pour beer out of a horn. I don't see that happening.
But I do see some of those small local breweries, especially if it's a place that you're always at, I'm sure they might go, oh, I have one in the back. We'll drink one with you.
I don't know. To me, I sit there and think if I saw someone come into Bottle Logic with a drinking horn, I'd be where's the
local corner brewery?
Where's the LARP convention at? Where's the LARP convention at?
That's fair.
But what I will tell you is for beer festivals, I think this would be really cool.
Yeah.
For camping trips, I think it would be really cool. Jacob and I like to go to festivals, Burning Man, Lightning in a Bottle. I think this would be a really cool thing to strap on my back and carry around.
Those of you more in the middle of the country, Electric Forest, this would be pretty good.
Yeah. As Jacob said earlier, it's a conversation piece, so it is practical. It works for what it's meant for. I will drink out of this plenty of times, but ultimately I think more than anything, it's a beautiful work of art, so it's meant to be displayed in the home, not hidden behind a cabinet or something, not tucked in a corner somewhere. And then also it's a conversation piece when you're out and about and you do decide to take it with you. I'm actually very fond of the Viking culture. I have some ancestors way back when that were Vikings. So for me, this definitely holds a special place in my heart. And I find that maybe if I take this somewhere that's maybe unusual, people will ask me about it, and it'll give me an opportunity to talk about a long-forgotten culture that most people just think is filled with a bunch of pillagers and pirates, and all they do is kill people and take their land. It's like Vikings are so much more than that. They were close to nature. They were a community that worked together and carried their own load. They actually are a great example of what we should probably be in this country, but that's a whole nother episode. Anyways, so now the final question. Is this worth buying? I'm going to say yes, depending on where you like to go and what your preferences are. Jacob?
I'm going to say this is worth a buy. Just maybe don't buy necessarily the biggest one. I think this smaller size is perfect for me with the stand, because then you could put it out on display. If you're expecting to buy one of those huge ones and then you can't even display it in your house, I think that would be a waste. So whatever size you do buy, keep in mind it's kind of like an art piece. So plan for it as such. Yeah.
I like that. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for our review of the Viking Brew Vessel. Thank you so much for the team over there for shipping these out to us, giving us a chance to really try out your product. If you guys are interested in purchasing these products, and they have a lot more with really cool designs, I'm going to give you the link to their Etsy page in the description below. Check them out. They're a very small team. They are working their butts off, and they make a very fine product. So, you know, support small businesses. Thank you so much to Espen for making Draugar again. That was one of my favorite beers of like 2 years ago, so it's really cool being able to try that again. And yes, although Vikings drank mead and not hazy IPAs, I sat there and thought, what's more Viking? Drinking a beer that was made by someone from Norway with Viking lineage, or drinking a mead made in Southern California? So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, share with your friends. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon so you can see when new episodes come out. Thanks again so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Let's Have Some Beer. Skål. Today we're going to try a really cheap beer from Bevmo, a middle price beer from Bevmo, and an expensive beer from Bevmo. And we're going to tell you whether or not it's worth it. So if you're ready, stay tuned.